Hello, everyone. Let's get started here. Thank you all for joining. Привет to the Russian community and anyone else that's joined here. Really excited to get into it. I got an amazing list of questions here that was compiled in advance, so I'm just going to start going through these. And we got a long list, so I'll make it through as many as we can here, and then if we have some extra time at the end, I'll answer questions that you put in live. So feel free to ask questions as we're going, and we'll try to answer those at the end. But yeah, let's get going. Let's get into some of these questions. Spasibo, Zapoprose. Thank you for the questions. I'm excited to get into it. So let's do it. First question: how does Eco plan to generate profit out of the Eco app? This is a bigger question than it might seem, and it's a really interesting one. The first thing to understand is that a lot of what Eco does, the way we're able to offer these amazing benefits, is by cutting out middlemen and allowing direct transactions between people. The financial system has grown upon itself in layers and layers and layers, and there's so many middlemen in the middle of every single transaction that happens, and we are able to cut those people out. And so at its most basic level, when we cut those middlemen out by using interesting technology, blockchain technology, we're able to pass way bigger benefits back to users. So that's the reason that we're able to give people such amazing yield and cash back. And there could also be a slice left over for Eco there. So one really straightforward way that Eco can generate profit out of the Eco app is give you better benefits than you can find anywhere else, and also there's a slice for us. But what we think is more interesting than that is to become long-term aligned with our users. We've got this series of posts on our website. I think many of you have already read them. But the last post in the series is called "How Do We Not Become a Bank?" How do we not turn into the evil that we're trying to get rid of? And there's a little bit of a teaser there. We aren't laying out the full plan quite yet, but it has a lot to do with Eco points. And what we say there is, I'm paraphrasing, but what we say is that our business model is to try to make these Eco points as useful as possible over time. And we talk a little bit about this world, this imaginary world. Think about other reward points, Amex points, American Express points, or Chase points, or whatever reward points you think about. Imagine a world where those reward points turned into their own economy, where Chase Bank started to pay their executives in Chase points, started to pay vendors in Chase points, had their customers pay them in Chase points. That would turn into its own little economy. I think that'd be a really interesting world. And we're progressing towards a world where that new sort of economy can exist thanks to all of the innovation that's happened in the last few years. So I'll leave it at that for now. I know it's a little bit of a vague answer. But what I would say is, how do we plan to generate profit out of the Eco app? Well, we could do it by taking a slice out of the amazing benefits that we offer users, but I think it's much more interesting to become long-term aligned with the people that are using our product. I think that's the future of business models in general, is for companies to be aligned with their customers after a very long time where that was not the case. So that's what we'll say for question number 1. Thank you, Parallax. I appreciate the pronunciation shout out. I'm not sure it's true, but I appreciate it. All right, question number 2. The Eco app implies seamless use of blockchain technology for users. Will it be its own Eco blockchain or layer 2, layer 3 solution? No news on this quite yet, but I think what I will say is in the general sense, I think a very common and very good pattern for technology development is to start by leveraging existing technologies and benefit from the network effects that existing technologies have before considering eventually developing your own technologies. And I think ultimately what Eco is trying to do is rebuild the financial system. We'll do whatever it takes to get there. But I don't think we have to rebuild everything from scratch to rebuild the financial system from the very beginning. if you think about it, let's talk about something totally unrelated, like the development of automobiles 100 plus years ago. When automobile makers set out to revolutionize personal transit, they didn't start out by saying, let's try to come up with something better than the wheel. They said, well, the wheel seems to work pretty well. Let's use a wheel in a better system and change certain pieces of it to make it better. And we'll go from horse and carriage to car. And that, I think, is a really intelligent philosophy. Consider the pieces that can most meaningfully be improved first, start by improving those, and then do whatever else you need to do over time. So when you think about the development of cars, the first thing that was changed was, well, let's build an engine. Instead of using a horse to pull a carriage, let's put an engine in a vehicle and have that engine turn the wheels. And so that was the highest impact change that you could make in revolutionizing personal transit. And then eventually everything else changes over time as is necessary. So as cars became more powerful, eventually everyone realized, well, we do actually need to build a better wheel, because now we're starting to break the existing wheels because of how powerful our cars are. And so the technology changed progressively over time. And I would suggest that applying a very similar mechanism to changing the financial system is the right way to go. Start by changing the things that have the highest leverage to change. And then as other things start to bend under the stress, change others. I know that's not a direct answer to the question, but I hope that gives some insight on what we're doing. Question 3. Do we plan to publish reports, state of eco promotion, future plans, roadmap to the community? Yes. I think one thing that's important to remember, this whole community is 3 months old right now. 3 months and 4 days old. So we're still very, very new, and we're just getting our footing under us. It's amazing how fast it's grown, but we're just getting our footing under us and figuring out what the next steps are. And we are certainly a startup, so things are changing every single day. But we're doing a lot of internal goal setting and milestone setting right now. And yes, we will plan to publish a lot of that. I will say this is a little bit of a sneak peek. We haven't talked about this publicly yet, but I'll share it with the audience here in this AMA session. At some point later this summer, we're going to open the kimono a bunch. We're going to open up a little bit in terms of what we've done and where we're going. And we'll be planning some sort of announcement and moment where you'll be able to get much more visibility into what's happening at Eco. And we are actively working on that. So keep your eyes peeled. Obviously, our earliest users win with us, and we are deeply appreciative of everyone's attention and presence in the community. And so, unsurprisingly, the community will be the first to hear about a lot of this stuff. So keep your eyes peeled. We will definitely be opening up more. We've just been adjusting like crazy since launch 3 months ago and just trying to keep up with things internally. And now we're turning towards opening up a little bit more externally as well. So yes, answer to that question is yes, we do plan to publish more plans, milestones, roadmap publicly for sure. Next question. What countries and regions are next on the list of most favorable for eco development and adoption apart from USA? How do you see the target eco user? This is another interesting question. We got a bunch of great questions here. One thing that's critical to understand is that, as I said before, eco is ultimately trying to reinvent, reimagine the existing financial system. That's the goal. But something we have to remember is that different parts of the financial system need to be reimagined in different places. So one big pain point in the United States is bank-to-bank transactions, ACH transactions, take multiple days. In other countries, that's not the case. They're instant. In the US, interest rates are incredibly low. Most banks pay people 0.04% interest annualized. In some countries, that's not the case. And so what eco looks like as a product has to be different region to region. It's not going to be the exact same product region to region. And so the question of who is the target eco user, the answer to that is everybody. But when we say it's everybody, we are acknowledging that what eco looks like as a product may be different for different people. Different regions, different countries have different needs from a financial perspective, and we'll build whatever needs to be built for that specific region. We don't think that the product that we've built in the US is exactly applicable to every other country. Different regions need different services from a financial perspective, and we're certainly going to craft that in different places. I do think in terms of what's most favorable for eco development, given that premise, it really comes down to a couple things. If we're willing to acknowledge that the product might not be exactly the same everywhere, then the most important factors for us in terms of where we should go next are where is there demand for eco, and where can we have people, hire people, bring people on who are exceptional to build eco. Because what we're conceding is that it doesn't really matter like where we go from a product perspective. The product will change. What matters is where is there demand, and where do we want to and can we build out a team to build it. And so we are open. We're constantly evaluating. There's no plans yet in terms of where is next on the list, but we have a bunch of things in the pipeline there. What tasks are left to start? What tasks do we need to finish is the next question. Question 5, to start eco mass adoption in the USA. Big question. Our belief, and this is very counterintuitive, but sometimes the best ideas are counterintuitive. Our belief is that we would much rather have a smaller audience of extremely committed users than a massive audience of people that don't really care that much about the product. Most fintech companies, most wallets, digital wallets, do the exact opposite. They go for as many users as possible, and they don't care how much those users deposit. They just want as many people as possible because what they're going for is vanity metrics. They want to be able to say this many people use the product. Our belief is that if we are encouraging people to move to a new financial system, we care much more about users who are committed to the product, who have devoted a meaningful amount of their money and their income to the eco product, and that we would much rather have a smaller set of those people than a larger set of non-committed people. This is, like I said, the exact opposite perspective from almost every app out there in the consumer financial space. And we believe this very strongly. And so in terms of mass adoption in the USA, we're building new features. So we're very close to launching bill payment in the USA, so you can pay your rent with the app. We have a bunch of other products coming down the pipeline, but really what we need to do is scale our ability to bring people onto the app who are really committed. So right now we onboard every user one-on-one. We actually talk to them live, we text with them, we engage with them, and that leads to these really committed users, people that care about using the app and put a meaningful amount of their money in the app. And we want to figure out how to scale that. And so the remaining task for kind of mass adoption in this sense is working on scaling that onboarding process. How can we have that personal interaction that results in really committed users with a larger and larger number of people? And how can we scale that? So that's what remains to grow the app in a really big way. But even so, we won't just be opening it up and letting anyone sign up and deposit a tiny amount of money, because we actually don't think that contributes to our goals, which again is in direct disagreement with many other products. With that, next question, question 6, how many downloads during the first year after launch would we count as success? So again, this is related to the previous question. We don't necessarily measure it by downloads. We think that's a vanity metric. And just the phrase vanity metric, for those that aren't familiar with it, means a metric as some sort of statistic that doesn't actually matter, but just makes people feel good. And I think number of downloads for a financial product is a vanity metric. I don't care if 10 million people have downloaded Eco and put $10 in a piece. Those people don't care about the product. And when we start to introduce them to a new financial system, they are not going to care. They don't have enough skin in the game. And so what we care about instead is getting people that are committed. And I think literally building an audience of thousands or tens of thousands of people who are deeply committed to this future is way better than building an audience of millions who don't care about it. And so that's our focus, building an audience of really committed people. Very counterintuitive, very opposed to the common wisdom of the space. What have we done so far? This is question 7, to promote Eco outside the US. Very little. Frankly, we've done very little to promote Eco inside the US. We've just been so buried with the interest that we've gotten from the limited work that we've done so far. But it's really this community so far. That's what we've done to promote Eco outside the US. Much more will come, but we've barely done any promotion so far just because we've had enough demand, more than enough demand, to keep us plenty busy with what we've done already. So keep an eye out for more on that over time. Question 8, I am a newcomer. How can I earn points? Great question. Go into any channel, type FAQ.points, and you'll see a breakdown. But really, I would make a broader point about this. Well, there's always bounties going on and meme contests and projects and more specific ways to earn points. The best way to earn points, and the people that have earned the most points, the people that have done best in this community, are the people that have just thought critically about what this community needs. Based on the stated goals of Eco, people have sat back and thought about, well, what could I do with my unique skills to make Eco better? And those are the people that get rewarded the most. So if you're a newcomer, make some memes, respond to some bounties, contribute to some projects, all of those are good ways to earn some points. But if you really want to earn a lot of points, think very hard about how you can contribute to this community and do something that's really meaningful that your peers will judge as meaningful to help Eco. And that's the way to earn a lot of points. And you can see that. You'll see that in the channels, whether it's the recent Eco Academy that the 3 community members worked on, Stefan, Saulo, and Jeremy worked on. They got a lot of points for that. Whether it's, and no one asked them to do that. They just realized it would be good for the community. And there we go, Stefan posting Eco Academy. It's an amazing resource. They did that of their own volition, and it's a massive contribution to the Eco Academy, and so of course they get a lot of points. Or you look at some of the bots that have been made from, I can't pronounce his full name, but Modest and RDFBBX. They stepped up and said, these are bots that I think should exist, and they built these bots, and they got a lot of points. Whether it's some of the language managers, like Passenger, who organized this AMA. Passenger, thank you as always for putting this together. Those language managers get a lot of points because they just stepped up and said someone needs to be building and managing these communities. So the best way to get points is to think about how to contribute to Eco and then do whatever you can to make those contributions. Great. Question 9. How can Eco be supported by the community in Russia? Is it required now or in the future? This is a great question. My belief is that the only way to rebuild the financial system is to do it community first. The next financial system that exists in the world is going to be driven by and aligned with communities. The existing financial systems are built top-down. They're built by governments, they're built by large institutions, and those systems are enforced on people that live in certain places. It's the way it goes. I don't think that's the future. I think we're seeing a future of decentralized financial systems, systems that are inherently aligned with their community and their users. And the only way to make that happen is to build a community over time. These things can't happen overnight. And so what I would say to this question, how can the Eco project be supported by the Russian community? Is it required now or in the future? Is that I don't have a specific request right now. there's nothing at this exact moment that we need action on, except that we need to be building and strengthening this community over time, because that is the only way to build a strong community. And so the request is continue to bring your friends into the fold, invite people in, drive good behavior, strengthen the eco community, contribute to the community. And that strength over time will build up and make us strong. And once we are strong, then we can make a real effort to do specific things to change the financial system, change the way that money works around the world. And so the request for what the Russian community can do is keep building, keep strengthening the community, keep finding the best people and bringing them into the fold and keeping people engaged and happy and contributing. Tell us what we can do better to serve the best people. And over time, the needs we have to rebuild the financial system will become clear. But right now, work on building community. Stay strong and keep people motivated. Question 10. What is the global aim for the eco community apart from earning eco Discord points? Well, earning eco Discord points, they're for research purposes only. They're interesting. They might be more interesting in the future. Ultimately, what the community is trying to do is what I said just a minute ago, which is be the foundation for a new financial system. As we always say, our earliest users win with us, and people that are in this community from the earliest days and contributing from the earliest days will certainly win if we are able to build a new financial system. But that is the aim for the eco community. It goes back to what I just said. I don't think the world's next financial system can be built without being built on a community where the stakeholders are all aligned. And the eco community's aim is to build that foundation, to build the right community with the right people that are able to contribute together to build that next financial system. I would also point people towards, it should be somewhere, I don't know exactly where it is, it might be in the past audio. I recently gave a little talk on frontiers a couple weeks ago. And in relation to this question, what is the global aim for the eco community apart from earning eco Discord points? I would suggest that everyone go and give a listen to that discussion and think about how it might be relevant to the question. All right, question 11. Where does the eco name come from? It doesn't seem to be linked to ecology, so is it an abbreviation? The eco name is an amazing asset, and we think of it a lot in terms of economy and ecosystem. Those are, I think, the best words to tie into eco. We're building a new ecosystem here en route to building a new economy. And so that is where the name eco comes from. We're fortunate that the brand was owned by Garrett Camp, the co-founder of Uber, who's one of our investors and founding advisors. And so he owned the domain and the brand and was able to hook us up with it. And so it's an amazing brand for that reason. We also think there's an element of ecology in that a new financial system will grow organically, will grow out of its community, will grow naturally. And so there's this kind of beautiful new concept of ecology and economics being tied together. But at its core, yeah, we like the name eco because, first of all, it's a great brand, short and memorable, but also because it is linked to economy and ecosystem in English. And I recognize in Russian, well, I pronounce it eco. I recognize it's pronounced echo under Cyrillic pronunciation rules. So I like that too, eco and echo. And there's actually a nice pun there that has emerged, which is the kind of Russian pronunciation of echo sounds just like the English word echo, E-C-H-O. And an echo in English is the noise that comes back at you when you make a sound. And my belief is that a new economy, a new financial system, has to be built on echoes. It is people bouncing off each other. echoes get louder and louder as more people join the mix. And I think that that is the only way a new economy can work. So yeah, Passenger got it. Economy. An echoing economy. And so I think there's something really beautiful there that was in part spurred by the Russian community saying echo. So I like that. I like that too. Question 12 is who is John Galt? Who is John Galt? What a great question. We should be asking ourselves that all the time. As it turns out, few do not have an answer for who is John Galt. But I like that question. I do. For those that are fans of the book, I do swear by my life and my love of it that I will never live for the sake of another man, nor ask another man to live for mine. And that is my favorite quote from in that book. But I will leave us all to wonder who is John Galt. That question probably belongs in the Socratic channel in Discord here. Who is John Galt? Question 13. Rumor has it that there will be more than 100 bounties. Is it true? It certainly looks like we're going to get there. We've been adding bounties nonstop. We keep adding new ones: community bounties, content bounties, research bounties. We got a lot of bounties. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we get to 100 or more. I do think it's worth noting that, as with many things, the bounties rewards will start to go down over time. Why will they go down? The reason is, I've said it a couple times in this discussion, our earliest users win with us. And we want the people that are here earliest to have the best opportunities to earn points. And you are all here very early. This is very early in the evolution of a new financial system. So be proud of that. Thank you for being here early. But yeah, I would expect as the bounties continue, rewards will start to go down because we want the people that are here earliest, the people that are here now, to win the most. But yeah, I would not be surprised if we have more than 100 bounties. I will tell you that we do not have 100 bounties planned out. But we are coming up with ideas as we go. You all are contributing ideas that we're starting, so I would not be surprised if we get there. How much did the eco.com domain cost when we bought it? Like I said, we were actually really lucky that we were able to get it from one of our investors. And so we're very, very fortunate there. I don't know the exact details of how much he originally paid for it, but I don't think it was cheap. It's an amazing domain. Question 15. Will and when will the eco token be available? Will active users and users from the leaderboard have some advantage over others? We haven't talked about an eco token at all. But as we always say, our earliest users win with us. So we will leave it at that for now. I'd again refer people to the Frontiers speech. Well worth a listen or a read. Dave posted it in Discord. In general, what way of rewarding early adopters do you think is more reasonable, airdrop or token sale allocation? Yeah, so stepping out of eco for a second and just talking in general about token projects, there's a really interesting debate that happens about how you reward early adopters. And as many of you know, I spent the last 3 years at CoinList, which I co-founded. I apologize for anyone that's had a bad experience recently. It's been crazy, token sale mania. So I know it's been tough, but yeah, I spent a lot of time thinking about what is the best way to reward early adopters. And I think at the end of the day, it depends on what the asset is used for and how you are defining early adopters. Different crypto assets are used for very different things. They have very different purposes. And for some of them, an airdrop makes a lot of sense. And for others, an allocation in a token sale makes a lot of sense. And it is really contextual based on who the early adopters are and what the asset is used for. In general, I think that token sale allocations are a really smart way to do it because it requires skin in the game. There have not been a lot of very successful airdrops. And when I say successful, I mean airdrops where the people that have received the airdrop have become active users and contributors to the system. There really haven't been a lot of them. Most airdrops, people get their airdrop tokens and they sell them and they leave, or they totally forget about them. And so I think that in general, having people have skin in the game with a token sale allocation makes sense. In certain cases, an airdrop may make sense. And in certain cases, a combination may make sense. And so I think it's very, very contextual, but it's a really interesting question. And you can see teams figuring this out and thinking about it in real time here as we see the continued evolution of token sales. So I don't claim to have the full answer, but I think in general, token sale allocations and having skin in the game is a smart way to do it. But I also believe firmly that not every project does this, but I firmly believe you need to reward your early adopters. Those are the people that, if you're building a community-driven project, have been contributing, growing the community, maintaining it, and so you need to reward early adopters. Great. 17, question 17. We've gone through a lot of questions here. As an example of a big tech company in the US that worked with digital currency, Facebook tried to create and adopt Libra digital currency. They faced problems with regulators. Do you have a plan on how to make it through regulators and have a token digital currency in the eco? Yeah, I think there's a lot there to talk about, and some of it is beyond the scope of this discussion. But I think what it comes down to is figuring out how to do things that are aligned with both the community and with existing laws, regulations, and political attitudes. And I think a place where Libra had issues was they were creating something that was interesting, but they did it in a way that was misaligned with what regulators wanted, in part because of Facebook. Regulators and policymakers have not been supportive of Facebook generally. They've had privacy concerns and everything else. And so when a company that has such massive concerns from a policy perspective tries to launch a new currency, that's tough. Regulators don't love that. And so I think you need to do it. You need to find a way to build things that are in alignment with both the community's interest and regulators and policymakers. I don't believe in ignoring regulators and policymakers. I believe in working with them. We did that a lot at CoinList, and that worked out really well. And I think at the end of the day, you just have to realize that everyone is trying to protect consumers' best interests. That's what everyone's trying to do. And that is an admirable goal, and you have to work with people that are doing so. Question 18. Is it hard to find a good smart contract developer in Silicon Valley for a AAA project? It's really hard. It's really hard. There are not that many amazing smart contract developers. We are actively recruiting smart contract developers. They don't need to be in Silicon Valley. And if you know anyone who's amazing, have them apply on our website and ping me or someone on the team, and we'll make sure to take a look at their application. But yeah, it's really hard. It's really hard. It doesn't really matter how good of a project you are. They're just, the supply of smart contract developers who are exceptional is low relative to the demand. And so it's very hard to find amazing people. But if you know anyone, send them our way, eco.com/jobs, have them apply, and then DM me and let me know. And of course, if you refer anyone that ends up joining Eco as a full-time team member, we will give you a bunch of points. I forget how many we said. I have it somewhere in Discord here, but we will give out a bunch of points if you refer anyone who joins Eco, who we hire. And if you yourself apply to Eco and we hire you, we will give you even more points. So check it out, eco.com/jobs. Thanks, Dave. Question 19. Who is Hen? Oh, great question. He or she is an active team member in the bounty sections, and we would like to know more about her or him. Great question. So Hen is a member of the Eco team, working on the community team. Hen is a he, and he's great. I would maybe, I don't want to dox people or out anything about them, so feel free to just ask. Go into the general channel or something and @mention Hen and ask who are you, and he'll share whatever he's comfortable sharing, but he's an amazing creative team member with a really good kind of eye for content and memes and creativity and artistry, and we're super fortunate to work with him. So I'd recommend you just ask him. He's happy to answer, but he's great. Also not in the US, which is helpful for time zone coverage. You may see him on at all sorts of hours that don't make sense for US people. Question 20. What will be the use for eco points in Discord? Research purposes. That's all we'll say for now. But keep your eyes peeled. Always, things can always evolve. But for now, they're for research purposes only. There was some really good discussion very early on in the economics channel, if you want to scroll up in that channel, about points and research and experimentation and everything. And we should get some of those discussions going on again. I'd be actually really interested if anyone wants to hop into the economics channel at some point and start theorizing, hypothesizing, talking about points and what you think they could be for. Great. Next question. Do you have more merchants on the door to integrate with the Eco app? Yeah, we're working on more merchants. We're definitely working on more merchants. We just added Instacart, which is a popular grocery delivery service here in the US. So people are really happy with that. Now we've got Uber, Amazon, DoorDash, and Instacart. But we are working on more and more merchants. I actually can't say who the merchants are until they approve us and we add them to the app. There's all sorts of confidentiality. Otherwise, I would tell you. But we're working on it, and we definitely want to get more merchants live. What are Eco app statistics so far? How many unique users, purchases done with Eco? What's the most popular Eco app partner people use? Uber, Amazon, etc. Let me see. So we aren't sharing a lot of statistics yet, but let me see what I'm comfortable sharing here. The most popular partner is Amazon, for sure. Among the merchants we use, again, Amazon, Uber, DoorDash, Instacart. Amazon is by far the most popular. Let's see, what else are we comfortable saying? Amazon's the most popular by a long shot. Actually, that's worth noting. I think DoorDash is the second most popular, but it's like 7 times less popular from a dollars spent perspective. Although Amazon is also kind of disproportionately larger transactions. And so, DoorDash is about 7 times smaller by dollars transacted, but only about 3 times smaller by number of transactions, which is interesting. Other than that, we're not sharing that much in terms of number of users or dollars spent or anything, but we'll start to be more open about that as we open up about our roadmap and goals and everything over the course of the coming months. So keep your eyes peeled on that. But always feel free to ask questions. We may not answer them, but always ask them. We're happy to see them. Let's see. Question 23. We're almost at the end here. When the Eco app is officially launched, where do we see the role of the Discord community? Goes back to some of the questions you all asked earlier. Same vein. The community is really what a new financial system is built on. The app is just one way to access this new financial system we're building. That's actually a really important concept. So I'm going to repeat that. The Eco app is just one way to access the new financial system we're building. The new financial system we're building is going to be built with the help of and in service of our community. That's how financial systems are built of the future. Future financial systems are built with community in mind, aligned with community, built on top of communities. And the app is just one way to access that. So even if you don't have access to the app right now, even if we don't serve your region, it doesn't matter. Of course, we'd like to serve you. We'd like to give you the app. We'd like to open up Eco and let you use it. But what's more important is that you're a part of the community that the eco new financial system is going to be built on top of. So keep that in mind. It's not all about getting access to the app. Although getting access to the app would be great, we're going to work on it as hard as we can. That is not the most important piece. By being a part of this community, you are part of the foundation for the new ecosystem. And that's what matters. So the role of the Discord community will continue forever, because that is how new financial systems are built. Next question, question 24. Are there any new features or plans for Discord to share with the community? Let's see. Well, one thing I just want to say, I don't know if everyone has been paying attention to Project Oxygen. This is remarkable. There's several initiatives going on, but one that just is being completed as we speak is that an Indian community member, Azib, went to his local hospital in India, found out what they needed to help with fighting the COVID pandemic. It was an oxygen concentrator, went and bought the oxygen concentrator on his own credit card. He did not have the money, or she did not have the money, I don't know what their gender is, to pay for it, so they bought on their credit card. A trusted community member who was that? Chebkin collected money from 24 different community members to pay for it. Azib delivered the concentrator to the hospital, got all sorts of evidence of delivering it, including signed letters stamped by the director of the hospital, and now he's going to get paid back for that concentrator. That is remarkable. I have never seen a community do anything like that before. And we didn't organize it. The eco team didn't organize it. We just said, please help. People are dying, and we think you can help. And the community went and solved it. A bunch of you may have contributed to that effort. That is amazing, and for me, that opens my eyes to how much this community is capable of. That was a real world impact that this community made. And so we would like to do more and more of that. How can we make real live impacts? Future plans that are coming down the pipeline. We do have one fun new game that we're going to introduce. It'll be called Project Magellan. This is a sneak peek for people here. You'll hear more about it in probably the coming week or so. And this is a game to get you to start to use points in interesting ways and start to encourage people to interact with each other. And so keep an eye out for Project Magellan in the coming week or so. Question 25, second to last question. We've seen many different bounties in Discord. So, this is actually one question together. This is our last question, and then I'll answer a few in the chat. We've seen many different bounties in Discord. Some are available for almost everyone. Some require specific skills, monetary investment. How do you see bounties evolving in the future? Will they become more linked to real world help like Project Oxygen, charity and blood donations, or keep more like advertisement, creativity, etc.? It's a great question. The answer is all of the above. We want everyone to be able to contribute to the eco community and the eco initiatives and the ecosystem. And for some people are amazing at creating content and memes. Great, let's give them things to do. Some people are amazing at coordinating logistical things. Great. Some people are amazing at writing research. Fantastic. We're open to all sorts of contributions. That's the only way a new system can get built. And so bounties are going to continue to diversify. They're not going to converge on a single type of bounty. They're going to get more and more broads that more and more people can contribute to them. And if you have ideas for bounties, post them in the community suggestions channel. But over time, bounties will continue to get more and more different. We'll start to try out newer and newer things. I think, just think about it. 3 months ago, Discord started. And for those of you that were here at the beginning, it was really, in terms of bounties, it was just memes. That was it. Making memes. Now, why do we do that? Because memes are pretty easy to make. Almost everyone can make memes. So we started with something that was incredibly inclusive. And then over time, we started to do more and more specific things in addition to things everyone can do. And I think if we had asked people to do Project Oxygen, or we had asked people to go get their blood drawn for donations at the beginning, you all would have told us we were crazy. You would have said, wait, what? I thought I showed up to some sort of crypto Discord and you're asking me to deliver an oxygen concentrator to India? You're asking me to get my blood drawn? This doesn't make any sense. You would have left. But now we can slowly expand into more and more interesting bounties and test the capabilities of this community. And that's what we're doing. So it's getting more and more different. And I just want to hone in on one thing I said there, which is test the capabilities of this community. We take this very seriously. We're trying to build a new financial system. A new financial system requires a massive skill set from the community that drives it. Skills of all sorts. And so a lot of what we're doing here is just starting to test out those skills. See what this community is capable of. Because it is only with an amazing, broad, deep set of skills that we'll be able to build a new financial system. And that is what we're trying to do here. So we'll keep building bounties to test the community's skills. If you have ideas for that, feel free to post them in community suggestions. All right, that was the list of questions that was pre-sent to me. I see a few questions in Discord. Let me just run through those really quickly. See what we got here. TechnoPoint 2020, what year will the project be launched? We have a lot going on this year. So keep your eyes peeled over the coming months. We'll have more and more discussion about the milestones very soon. TechnoPoint 2020 also asks, will the project be launched or is it just a research project now? I would challenge you on this. This is a challenging concept and hopefully it survives. I'm not sure if you're a Russian community member, but I hope it survives kind of the language translation challenge here. But I think that the best projects that exist in the world, not just crypto projects, but any project, starts off as a research project. That is how amazing new systems are built. So Eco's a research project, but it also has ambitions of doing very real practical things in the world. And so why not both? Why can't it be launched and be just a research project now? TechnoPoint also asks, who will be the mascot of the Eco project? I don't know. It's a great question. I think we did a mascot bounty a while ago, so maybe someone can dig up who the winning mascot was. But that's a good one. And let's see. Sergio asks, "Do I know Mr. Tinkoff in person?" I do not know Mr. Tinkoff. I do not know Mr. Tinkoff. I've never met him. And TechnoPoint also asks, "Why is Eco not on Telegram?" The honest answer is, we are just so busy right now with keeping Discord under control. I mean, remember this, there's 24,000 people in here and we are a small team. And so we are trying to keep things manageable for ourselves. And we also think there's benefits to concentration. We think there's benefits to being in one place and having everyone in one place rather than scattered in multiple places. That said, oh great, Sergio just posted this. There are a couple unofficial Eco Telegram channels for different language communities, and you can definitely feel free to check those out. And we will certainly introduce Telegram at some point in the future. We just don't want to overextend ourselves quite yet. Oh, and Jeremy, thanks for posting the mascot. That was the Prometheus mascot that someone put together. It was very, very cool. So that may be the Eco mascot. Let's see. Tata, do you know Russian? Say something in Russian. I don't know Russian. I know a couple words in Russian. I can say do svidaniya right now and leave if now is the time. But that's about all I got. Do svidaniya, privyet, spasiba. That's about it. I used to know some more words, but I've forgotten many. Any last minute questions here? Otherwise, I will say do svidaniya and get out of here. Give folks just a minute in case you have any questions. This was fun. All right, everyone. Well, I'll leave. I'll let you get back to your days or your evenings. I don't even know what time it is where all of you are, but thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed. We went through a bunch of fun questions here. And as always, we're around. If you have other questions, just ask. But do svidaniya for now. Thank you, everyone.
ファンドズアーセーフ